how do you really think one can change sooner than later? See, the problem is we want to get better mentally, but
Yeah,
then we go back to the old habits.
correct. Correct. And that's what makes change very hard and change very slow. I think for me, I can speak from my experience. When I felt stuck, I sought help. That's really what it is. And since then, I've been on this 20 plus year transformation journey to try to understand myself better, to understand how the human mind works better, to understand what keeps people stuck. And, I think don't be afraid to ask for help if it's important to you. I think, first of all, step back and get out of the day to day.
Yeah.
Get out of the day to day. I'm reading a book right now, which is great. It's called Be Your Future Self Now by Benjamin Hardy. And
Hmm.
he talks about how we go from just what's urgent to the next urgent thing. It's like we
Yeah.
just focus on small term fires. That's all we're doing. We're going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, but we rarely think about the future. We rarely
Yeah.
step out and think. And actually what I do now, Vinny, is for people to understand my method better, what I've been doing is I've been doing a 5-day one-on-one challenge with them for free,
Hmm.
show them to actually give them a chance to step back and reconnect with their most important goals,
Yeah.
because people are just pulled by the small fires every day, and they before
Yeah.
they know it, I mean, look, we're in July, half the year is gone. I can assure the majority of people have not made a lot of progress towards their most important goals.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. It's just the human mind. And these days, we're more distracted than ever. We're being
Yep.
pulled in more directions than ever, and we don't have time to step out. So the first thing we do on day one of my challenge is we actually say, okay, let's take a step back and see, where do you want to be 12 months from now? Let's start looking a little bit more future. And
Hmm.
again, our ancestors weren't like future planners. They weren't planning for retirement. They were just trying to find food for that day so they can live and survive. So our tendency is just to focus on what's in front of us. But we take a step back on day one and say, okay, where do you want to be in 12 months in these key important areas? Your career, your money, your health, your relationships. Where do you want to be? And we put it down. And I have them write a
Hmm.
future state letter and create a future identity so that they can start being pulled by something inspiring and not just going from day to day to day to day.
Yeah.
In
True.
days two, 3, and 4, we focus on my three pillars from my book. So it's mind, body, and life. And I show them the challenges that these things can pose. So the mind, like I said, we have limiting beliefs. Our
Yep.
motivation goes up and down. It leads to procrastination. Our identity stops. So we have to work on that. The body itself, the metabolism slows. Our hormones change over time. We want to make sure that the body itself, we're keeping it in a good place, especially for people whose health is actually been compromised because they've been working
Yeah.
hard and not eating right or not taking care of themselves, etc. And then the third pillar is life, making sure things outside of us don't throw us off and hurt our consistency. Traveling, social events, not enough time because of work, conversations that upset us, relationships that trigger us, right? So all those things
Yep.
manage as well. And then on day five,
Mhm.
I give them a plan, right? Here's what you have to do if you truly want to have the life you want. Because without that kind of almost like intervention, it's like a soft intervention,
Sure.
if you will,
Hmm.
you're just
Hmm.
going to keep being run by the same habits because that's how the mind works. And so you kind
Yes.
of need
Right.
somebody to help
So
you
true.
step out of that. Einstein has a great quote. He says, you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it.
Mhm. So true. So true. So
You
true.
need an outside
Yeah.
mind, and that's what I do for folks. That's why I'm inspired to be a coach for people, to lift them up and out of their old patterns so that they can become free. They can break free from the self-doubt, the internal pressure, the perfection,
Hmm.
people pleasing, the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome. We get rid of all of that.